Hey guys, it's Alex from the Disciples here with the 3v3 Yu-Gi-Oh! Online series thing, winning team, the Disciples. Uh, who are they? Connor, Tristan, Gabriel. Tristan recently joined. Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. Woo. Um, so, so, um, what was it? Tristan and Gabriel played the Dragon Link deck. Not an FTK, by the way. Um, and then Connor played his rock strategy yet again with actual spell trap cards this time. Um, but yeah, uh, shall we just like look at the event as a whole quickly? Um, so round
Yeah.
one, weirdly, Adamant's played a top deck, followed by Secret Eldritch. Um, a surprising amount of water decks, I guess. I don't really know. It's kind of just a UK event, so just lots of random things. Oh, wait, there's only three Dragon Link guys, and two of them were you.
Yeah, I
Wait.
think the other guy was playing our FTK list. Like literally just card
Like
for
card by
card.
card.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's pretty sick. If only, oh, if only he
It's
did enter. If only he
some
did
random
enter.
guy.
That random guy ruined everything. And then top four, which is kind of more interesting than this. Um, so what? How many water links? Five water entered. Two topped. Two out of the three Dragon Link topped. And then an invoked Mech Knight guy from the other section just appeared and topped. Do you think he got carried, or I don't know?
Look, if you look at his deck list, it definitely seems like he would have got carried.
Yeah, it was a questionable
Tristan
one,
with the
but
shade.
with the but fair play to him. They got what? They got second, right?
Yeah, they got to
Yeah.
the finals.
Fair play to them.
Must have done
Um,
something right.
yeah, it must be doing something. The two Waterloop decks, funnily weird, so weird. Anyway,
It's kind of mad that only one Synchro Elves out of 8 topped.
yeah, that's kind of mad.
Yeah.
Maybe they just
I think
UK
the,
players don't have to
the
play.
teams that it, yeah, the teams that they were in basically, like I think there were like two teams that were like Tristan crowd.
Uh,
Yeah,
So
probably. Yeah,
I'm
that
not a
makes
fan.
sense.
I'm not a fan of that.
Eld is usually like the highest represented deck in these sort of tournaments, just because of the variance
yeah,
of it as well. But Adamantipator just like
yeah.
completely covered it.
I think this is a bit about like the 3v3 aspect as well. Like you can afford to play a combo deck because if you lose, probably our other two players won't get like high rolled as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Which I guess when you're playing like three high variance decks like the three of you were, and like your technical play as well helped a lot with that. So it just meant that you had like easy events in comparison to the rest.
Yeah, it's worth
Yeah,
knowing
I
that
think
the American team were playing like all three of them on rock decks as well, so that contributes to
Yeah,
the top four breakdown.
yeah, and that's already half the adamanticators there anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we start with the rocket lists and primarily Tristan's list, so you guys weren't on the FTK this week. Why was that?
So the reason we weren't on FTK, so we figured that people would learn how to beat the FTK because we were only making Herald as like a hand trap stopper. So if they have two hand traps and they hold it beyond Herald, you can usually stop the FTK. So we decided to play a dragon deck that can make a Appaloosa as well, so that if they do hold two hand traps, they get punished for it and can't use them at all.
Yeah,
But it turns out we were wrong. People just weren't holding hand traps at all. They were just throwing them at the first thing they could see on the field. Definitely overestimated the intelligence of the player base.
yeah. I, it was the guy that kept throwing the hand traps at the what was it, Striker Dragon?
Yeah, a
yeah,
lot
I
of
That
think
hit
people
me.
like.
Dragon got Imperm so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy. People at least know to hit Romulus, which is like a good card to hit, but yeah, they still don't really have any idea what to do, which is a benefit for us, obviously.
obviously it helps you get there. Um, so that kind of explains why no FTK. So if we're going to talk about Tristan's list specifically, in comparison to Gabriel's, you're playing the White and Red Rose Dragon. So why did you play these?
So me and Gabriel basically agreed that it's like not optimal to play them because they're pretty much bricks, but it was just a lot easier for me because I'd been testing with the Rose Dragon, so I knew the combo to do with just two dragons do the full combo, and it requires like Red Rose to get Herald as well. And I hadn't tested without them, so I didn't feel comfortable cutting them from the list. We basically referred to them as training wheels because it just makes the deck easier to play.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna go to Gabriel's list now, if I can find it. So why did you guys decide to play Kaijus in the side?
The idea is like we had predicted people would be back in Buster Lock, which they actually were. I think we're correct on this because the rock board is actually breakable by this deck, but you can't break Buster Lock like with engine. So we just assume people would be back with on Buster, and Kaiju is instead of in comparison to Dark Ruler, if you like Kaiju the Savage, they usually only have like 1-2 interrupts, and you can play through that. While if that was Dark Ruler, it would just be that.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, especially like as we saw the American team were playing the Buster Lock in their main, I think. I can't really remember. As well as like Dark Ruler and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know if they're remaining Buster. They're remaining Ruler for sure.
a lot
I
of
think
people
it
are
was
mainly
against
Buster.
them. Yeah, against them like we won all die rows, and then two of them drew Dark Ruler, but they still lost to Buster Lock.
I mean, it just shows how powerful the Buster Lock is, really, isn't it?
It's also worth
Yeah,
noting that the two kaijus are light, so that's like you
Yes.
can't. It's better to play light kaijus because you can discard them for chaos space and
Yep.
like banish them for Levian.
yeah. It searches Lavinier when from Chaos Space. If you're playing Radiant, even though it lasts less attack, you're forced to search Wyvern Buster.
You can't search them off Chaos Space, right? I don't think you can, but
No,
No,
I don't
no.
think so because
just
they can
Akira you
obviously.
can search off Rotor though if you target a Union carrier. That's come up before.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Why do we play two different ones, Tristan?
Um, I don't know. Why not? They have the same attack anyway.
Star points, bro. Um,
I'm sure
so
there's a reason for it. I just can't remember what it is.
there probably is, but oh well, it's what it is. Um, so before you weren't playing the Nephatic Seal in your extra deck, so why are you playing that now as well?
Heretic Seal, you do it instead of Apollo in the combo. It basically gives you like more follow up because it just floats into a Seaford or into a Bro Tower. It also works as follow up if you get Dark Ruler no more, which is nice. It's also like a nice utility card instead of the Lingerous because like I don't know, in weird scenarios you get hand trapped, you can just like get Heretic Seal, bounce to your normal summon, get a follow up for next turn. It has been like very good.
It's come up before to like bounce floodgates as well. Like it's a main deck out to skill drain which we didn't have before.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. And I guess also, in some instances, it can help you play through Nibiru, right?
Yeah, you can like make an early Hyraxion if in Nibiru you can just summon like a Rotor.
Yeah, there was a very weird scenario that he held Gamma Nibiru. So he Nibiru'd me like when I made Savage, and then he Gamma the Herald. But then he tributed the Heretic Seal, so my Heretic Seal floated into Red Eyes floated into something else, and I still made an Apollo for 4, which is pretty
That's just
insane.
broken. Yeah. um, I think the last question I have about this deck is why were you playing 50 over 60?
It's just because cards like Chaos Space, Quick Launch, World Legacy Guard Dragon, and obviously the hand traps are so good that you just want to see them more often. It's kind of hard to cut it down to 40 cards because there are so many good cards. It was kind of a struggle to cut it down to 60. Cut it down from 60. But you still see the bricks less often, like Phalanx and Divine Lance. There's still a very high number of hand traps. You're still likely to see one. You just want to have a slightly better odds of seeing side cards like Storms and Cosmics against back row decks, Lancia, Kaijus, etc.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense then. Because you just want to see your, well, broken cards. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, right, I think that's about it for the Rocket deck. So if Connor wants to wake up while we talk about his deck. Um, so there's not much to talk about, like a lot of it's kind of standardized now. Um, but why did you play Unexpected Die and Nibiru?
I just thought Nibiru was like too powerful of a hand trap not to play, and paired with impermanence a lot of the time, like Tristan and Gabriel are prepared for, against decks like combo decks or Adamant's player. A lot of the time you can wait a bit even after if you open both, even after they have a negate on board, and then you just negate and Nibiru them. So I did that like a fair bit of times when I went second. I just felt like both of those hand traps were the best hand traps. And I didn't want to play Gamma. they're like. So yeah, I just ended up playing that. And in theory, unexpected die is like the best one to open because you can use it with Adhara, you can use it with Pet Incest, and it's either a tuner or a non-tuner. So it's if you open like it and Doki, for example, you Doki effect to get a Guardian, still make Guardian on field. It's quite big. I didn't really want to play Gate Block or Weeping Idol. I don't think they're that good. No one's playing mine now, so I just decided to play the beta as that other unexpected die target. And a lot of times I just hit beta off an Adamantipator, Excavate, and then it was just a level 4, which was good for making.
The well
So,
granite. Yeah.
yeah, so it comes up like it was pretty.
Yeah.
Good.
How about access code talker? Because that's kind of a new addition to your list.
Yeah, so when I used to theory the Adamantipator deck with Tristan and Gabriel, they just weren't on. They weren't on it with access code, and they thought Dragout was enough. And I kind of like see where they're coming from because you don't really need access code talker, but like they were talking about in their deck profile, Redder as being like training wheels. In a sense, access code just allows for follow up. So after you finish your turn, especially because I don't play Savage, I have to end on Dragout. If they clear the Dragout, I still have set up with block, assuming it's still in my grave. So it's quite easy to climb with the Nightmares into access code talker, and then a lot of times they just blaps the rest of their board and then just attack direct 5/7. And then if you have block in grave, usually that kills them quite like straight away.
No,
So
makes a lot of sense.
it just came up like a lot of times, just makes things a lot easier. Like just being able to put up monsters on the board and you know what you're going for, and they can't respond to the access code talker either. So you just know a lot of the time, and you'll know like the game will be quite simplified if you've done your full board and they haven't scooped yet and they've tried to play through it. By the time they've gone through the negates, assuming they don't open Dark Ruler, like you'll just be able to follow up next turn into access code and overpower them. That's
Yeah.
how I get my wins.
Yeah,
So,
no, that makes a lot of sense.
it was really good. It was way better things.
Yep. Why did you continue not to play Savage Dragon in your extra deck?
Dragout was enough for me. Like the variants didn't really matter because at the point when you're making like 3-4 negates, especially if you have IP on the board, but you could potentially make Appaloosa for 2 months the negates, or if you're ending on a Guardian, you just don't need that Omni negate. Like it doesn't matter if it's a spell negate because that being your only spell negate is fine because if they have a single spell card in your hand, it's still negating that spell card. Especially if you have Herald on board, which also acts as an Omni negate. There have been in certain interactions where like I've had Herald and Dragite and they've like attacked over the Herald and then proceeded to use monster effects in main phase 2. But a lot of the time, it won't just be those two. Like you'll have a Dweller as well or something. So, and if you haven't used IP, then that could also make Appaloosa.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. You just don't need both. They're both just Dragout's
Yeah.
enough to be honest. And if the Dragout applies pressure to the opponent because they have to out it. So if they don't out and just leave it there, then next turn you also have a spell and trap negate, and you get to like excavate the top 5, bounce however many. That's really good against Edlich as well, because then they
Yeah.
can't use like that conquer. And so I didn't really. Code was just way better.
Yeah. I think the last question I have about your list is why did you put Token Collector back in your deck?
Right. So, well, I'm still playing Petting Cess, and I wanted to play like a lot of hand traps on the side. So a lot of the times I have to side out the Petting Cess if I want to side in the Ashes and Balers. So I wanted to also play a hand trap where I didn't have to side out with Petting Cess against certain matchups when I felt like extenders would also be needed. So I like to put in Token Collector against like Edlich or the Mirror Match or even anything that uses Auroradon. And it carried through the majority of the tournament, winning me 2 matches on feature. The card was just amazing, being able to clear the link cross tokens or Auroradon tokens. And even when it's on the field, some people forget that you can't summon tokens while it's on the field. So the guy made like another Auroradon and then just didn't use this effect. And also the fact that it works in grave is also really good because the guy at some stream made Wooling Glacier and discarded it out of my hand to use it.
Yeah.
Also, if you Nibiru your opponent and then that you clear their Nibiru token, you have a level. Because then next turn you can make Granite. So I did. It's an Earth Extender. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Option, and I just wanted to play more hand traps because I have only 6 hand traps in the main deck. I'm going second after siding. You have to be putting in like at least 10, just to be ahead. So when it gets to your turn, if you've yeah, I felt like Veiler was, well, Impermanence is like the best right now just because it's a trap card, but Veiler was second best because after Nibiru, obviously, because it just does the same thing as Impermanence in the simple game state. Ash was really good, especially on Elixir, so I thought that was the next best hand trap to put in. I didn't want to play free Ash because the chance of drawing two, I didn't want to break. I wanted it to be as consistent as possible, and especially considering that opening either combination of any of these hand traps results in usually the same thing. I thought it was fine to just play 2 and 2. Obviously, the Pank and the Ruby just there for going second with the Lightning Storms. In the future, I'll probably take out Lightning Cosmics. I just felt like Cosmics would have been way better because you can chain, and the Lightning Storms didn't really do that much for me in this tournament, if I'm honest. Exchange Standard. I played it over Call by the Grave. In my last list, I was playing Call by, but I felt like I just didn't. If you don't hit a Guardian, it's really risky because if you don't have block, you just lose to Nibiru. So I just felt like Exchange was better. And yeah, that's about it.
Sick. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Shout out to Yugi Joe again for running the event. Bit of a weird day one, but day two seemed to go off without any hitches. So yeah, shout out to him. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to the channel, as well as follow all of our socials in the description below. Check out our sponsors, the Brotherhood Games, MetaMats and Card Market down below for high quality products and one of the best tournament organisers in the UK. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next video.